on Flo 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. My name is Weniha Jackson. The headlines: President Buhari submits ministerial nominees lists. Presidency explains continued detention of El Zakzaki despite court order. Abia State government earmarks projects for implementation within 100 days. And on the foreign scene, U.S. expands powers to deport migrants without going to court. The details in a moment. President Muhammadu Buhari has finally forwarded the list of ministerial nominees to Senate for confirmation. There are 43 nominees by the president. On the list announced by Senate President Ahmed Lawan are former ministers Babatunde Fashola, Rotimi Amechi, Ogbonnaya Onu, Adamu, Senator Chris Ngige. Also on the list are former governors Rauf Aregbesola, George Akume, Timipre Silva, Adeniyi Adebayo. Some of the newcomers are Senator Godswill Akpabio, Sunday Dare, Festus Keyamo, Sharon Ikezo, Senator Tayo Alaswadura, and Olonibe Mamora. Lawan said screening of the nominees commences tomorrow. President Muhammadu Buhari has signed a new agreement on an electrification roadmap with Siemens, a German-based company. The breakdown of the agreement is to achieve 7,000 megawatts by 2021, 11,000 megawatts by 2023, and overall grid capacity to 25,000 megawatts. President Buhari, who spoke after signing the deal, disclosed that the first focus of the partnership is to fix the transmission and distribution infrastructure, especially around economic centers where jobs are created.
Our goal is simply to deliver electricity to Nigerian businesses and homes. My challenge to Siemens, our partner investors in the distribution companies, the transmission company of Nigeria, and the electricity regulator, is to work hard to achieve 7,000 megawatts of reliable power supply by 2021.
Special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, is explaining that President Muhammadu Buhari-led government refused to obey Justice Gabriel Kolawole's order on the release of the leader of the Islamic movement of Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El Zakzaki, because it appealed the ruling. The president's spokesman also said that Abubakar Malami, the Attorney General of the Federation at the time, may have had his reasons for doing so, since the government had the right to appeal the bail. Adesina, who said the matter had since been taken before a court in Kaduna State, and the bail hearing would come up next Monday, and called on Shiites to wait for the court to make its ruling. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, to halt any breakdown of law and order as Shiites protest escalated in Abuja yesterday. The IGP, who was at the presidential villa for a briefing on the security situation, confirmed to State House correspondents that President Buhari directed him to do everything within the police powers to prevent the breakdown of law and order.
I've just seen them. They are carrying bullet wounds, and some were attacked with clubs and stones. We've shown restraint in terms of not going the same way these protesters went, but it's an act that is not tolerated. It's an act that will never take it again.
The Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, Awal Musa, says former President Goodluck Jonathan has no moral right to demand for the implementation of recommendations of the 2014 National Conference. Speaking in a reaction to calls for another national dialogue in the face of growing insecurity in Nigeria, Musa said that most Nigerian elites do not mean well for the citizens.
The former president, I'm saying that he has no moral, justification to make that claim, because he has set up a committee. He had the time. The report was given to him. He has the opportunity to implement at least the policy aspect. He refused. Now he's coming to talk about, report. Why do you want to abandon your own responsibility and then be asking somebody to do his own, your own?
Former lawmaker representing Kaduna Central in the Senate, Shehu Sani, is claiming that the North is tolerating President Muhammadu Buhari's administrative style because he is from the region. Sani, who spoke as a guest speaker at a conference held to prepare emerging leaders in Kaduna, maintained that the North had failed to hold Buhari accountable despite the killings and destruction of property in the region. He lamented the level of poverty and educational backwardness in the North and called on the president to urgently intervene. Southwest Governors Forum is calling on federal government to set up ranches across the country and discourage nomadic system of cattle rearing. The forum, which comprises 6 state governors in the region, lamented the spate of killings and other forms of criminality, which they said needed serious attention. The chairman of the forum and governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, stated this when he led other members of the forum on a condolence visit to the leader of the Pan-Yoruba Sociocultural Organization, Afenifere, Pa Ruben Fasorachi, after the funeral service of his daughter, Mrs. Funke Olakunrin, in Akure, the Ondo State capital. The senator-elect representing Imo North District, Benjamin Owajumogu, has staged a protest to the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, demanding the immediate release of his certificate of return being withheld by the commission. Owajumogu had secured an order of a federal high court sitting in Abuja directing the commission to release the certificate of return, but 3 weeks after the judgment, INEC was yet to comply. Abia State government says it is on course to realize the project earmarked for implementation within the first 100 days of Governor Peazu's second term in office. The State Commissioner for Information, John Okiyikalu, who stated this while briefing journalists at Government House, Umuahia, noted that the contractor handling the reconstruction of Aba Road, Umuahia, has been mobilized back to site, along with one handling Ururuka Road and Abawe Road in Aba. He said that the state government has received reports of growing tension around Owerenta area and is taking measures to forestall any breakdown of law and order in the area. Residents of Isiama Faruku in Umuahia North local government area of Abia State are not happy with the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, EEDC, for abandoning the community after granting the electricity company land to host their substation in the area. The residents who staged a peaceful protest alleged that the EEDC had never paid any economic royalty for the project, but has continued to issue them exorbitant bills. Others who spoke, President General of Isiama Faruku Development Union, Chief Ikechukwu, who spoke with Flo FM News during the protest. Others who spoke to newsmen said efforts to get the attention of EEDC to their plight proved abortive.
We have written a letter to them severally in connection with our agitation, our displeasure. None of them has given any attention. Every installation we do in this place, we buy transformer by ourselves to give ourselves light. We buy all the poles, all the big conductors. We buy all the accessories.
Foreigners are working in our land, and today we are here to say that we no more empathy to that.
Abia State Police Command is enlisting the support of local hunters to combat kidnapping and other criminalities. The Commissioner of Police, Ene Okon, who made the disclosure in Umuahia, said the command is intensifying community policing as the best strategy to fight crime. Former Governor of Abia State, Orji Uzor Kalu, has opened his defense in a case of alleged 7.6 billion naira fraud brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The former governor, whose testimony lasted for about 7 minutes, was only able to state his name, address, occupation, and the number of counts for which he was standing trial before the proceedings were truncated by his counsel, Awa Kalu, a senior advocate of Nigeria. The counsel asked the court to grant him an adjournment to enable him get access to the case file so as to adequately prepare for his defense. Justice Idris then adjourned the case until August 26 for continuation of trial. Flo News at noon continues shortly with business, foreign, and sports news. Please stay tuned. Federal Commissioner of Public Complaints Commission in Abia State, Chukwuemeka Nwogu, is lauding the efforts of Central Bank of Nigeria at bringing stability in the banking sector, especially curbing the issue of failed banks in Nigeria. Speaking when he visited the Umuahia branch controller, Nwogu noted that the commission was poised to ensuring that they excelled in their duties through investigation that would prevent administrative injustice prevalent in the public service. Responding, the branch controller CBN Umuahia, Ogbonyeka, appreciated the efforts of Ombudsman at addressing grievances in public service. He noted that the bank was willing to partner the commission, especially in recovering unwarranted debited money witnessed amongst banks. And now foreign news. The U.S. government is introducing a new fast-track deportation process that will bypass immigration courts. Under the new rules, migrants who cannot prove they have been in the U.S. continuously for more than 2 years can be immediately deported. Until now, expedited deportations could only be applied to those detained near the border who had been in the U.S. for less than 2 weeks. Sports. Abia State Governor Okezie Ikpeazu is urging fast-rising Super Eagles swinger Samuel Chukwueze to remain humble and hard-working, not to emulate players like Tyler Okoromata and Etimesen. Ikpeazu was quick to add that the 20-year-old must not be overwhelmed by his performance at the AFCON, stating clearly that pride is the virus that destroys talent. Following his impressive debut at the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, the highly rated winger was one of Nigeria's best performers at the tournament, scoring 1 goal, and was the recipient of the Man of the Match award as the Eagles won bronze at the competition. And now, to end the news, a recap of our major stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has finally forwarded the list of ministerial nominees to Senate for confirmation. Southwest Governors Forum is calling on the federal government to set up ranches across the country and discourage nomadic system of cattle rearing. Abia State government says it is on course to realize the projects earmarked for implementation within the first 100 days of Governor Ikpeazu's second term in office. And on the foreign scene, the U.S. government is introducing a new fast-track deportation process that will bypass immigration courts. Thank you for being with us, but remember that security is everyone's business. So provide useful information to security agencies to ensure your security. Join us at 6:45 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. every weekday for additional newscasts. This is Flo 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. You can send your views or information to flowfmnews@gmail.com or visit www.flownews.com.ng for more stories. This bulletin was edited by Oluchi Ndubuizu. Supervising editor has been Samson Eze. My name is Weneha Jackson. Thank you one more time.